Welcome back. I hope you had some good discussion, and I just want to remind you that as much as it may sound like Jesus is being very exclusive, like excluding people by saying that he is the way, the truth, and the life, I want you to know that it is the most inclusive thing out there. It is the most inclusive religious idea out there in this world. You see, other religions, they make you have to follow all the right rules. You have to dress the right way. You have to not do all the certain things on the do not do list. You have to obey all the rules. You have to pray at a certain time of day. You have to do all of this stuff in order to earn your way into the good graces of whatever God that they're talking about. Here's the difference with Jesus, though. With Jesus, it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter who you are. You are included in the gift that he's offering you. You just have to accept it. And if you accept it, you're on the way. You're in the right place. And because Jesus is the way, we need to mourn for those who are without Jesus. We need to mourn for those who are without God. We need to be so concerned about those who don't know God to show compassion. Sometimes it's easy just to get caught up in playing church. We don't even think about it. We show up at church, we do our thing, we're saved, I'm good to go. But think about this. When was the last time you talked to somebody about Jesus? When was the last time that you even just pointed them the right direction to where Jesus was? When was the last time that you invited someone to come to church so they can even hear about Jesus here at church? What we do is we get in this routine of playing church, and we think church is this. We think I come together with my Christian friends and I get in my little holy huddle and we treat the non-Christian as our enemy. Oh, that person's a sinner. They don't belong here. No, that's not church. That's a club. This is church. Saying somebody doesn't belong, that's not the church. A sincere mourning means that you understand that you really do believe in your soul that Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, and that you mourn for your friend or relative or your neighbor or your coach or whoever it is that don't know Jesus. Statistics tell us that 85% of people that will come to know Jesus will do it before they're 18. That's what's so important here. What you do, your interactions with people will help them to come to know God at a time where they're most likely to accept him. I mourn for those that get past that point and don't accept Jesus, that don't know Jesus. So a lot of us will say, oh, I don't need to tell them about Jesus. They'll run across it somehow. Somebody will. Maybe my youth minister will run into them and tell them. Or maybe everybody knows where our church is. If they're really interested, they'd just show up and they'd find out. Well, that's just playing church. That's just showing up and expecting other people to do the work. And that's gross. All right? Here's what I found out about non-Christian. Some of you in here might not be Christians. But non-Christians aren't afraid of Jesus. They want to hear about Jesus. They want to hear who Jesus is and what he did. People think he's pretty awesome. You know what they're afraid of? They're afraid of Christians who wear their t-shirts proudly or have their bumper stickers or say, I'm a Christian, and live one way or the other. They're not afraid of Jesus. They're afraid of Christians. This is what people want. They just want you to be normal. They want you to tell them about Jesus. How do you do that? If they think a Christian is weird, if they think you're a hypocrite, be loving, be gracious, be kind. Model your life after Jesus Christ, and people will respond to you. If you were to read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the first 4 books in the New Testament, they talk about the life of Jesus, and you'll find that most people were amazed or were in awe about who Jesus was. People saw Jesus and they were amazed. They heard him teach and they were in awe. They watched a miracle, they were amazed. They saw him interact with a woman who was an outcast and they were in awe. They saw him touch a leper who no one would go around and they were amazed. Jesus is amazing, and what happens is you and I get in the way of things and we mess things up. So I encourage you that if you truly believe that Jesus is the way, mourn for those who don't know him. Just be normal and invite them. Your job is to not to convert anybody. Your job is to invite them and introduce them to Jesus. You do the possible with faith, and God will do the impossible. If you really believe that Jesus is the way, you love people, and you reflect Jesus, people respond to that because Jesus is amazing. Jesus is the truth, and we need to make the pursuit of truth a priority. You need to find out answers. This is for whether you're a Christian or a non-Christian. Pursue truth. If you're a Christian and one of your friends comes up to you and says, I'm not sure I believe in the Bible, and you walk away and you never answer their questions, you never ask them what their questions are, that's not good. But if you say, hey, great question, I'd love to answer that for you, that's perfect. All right? If you're not a Christian, make the pursuit of truth a priority and ask, hey, where do I start? And we've got some books for you guys today. They're called The Case for Christ for Students. We encourage you guys to come pick those up. If you really want to pursue the truth about who Jesus is, come and grab these books tonight. We may run out. There's probably more of you than there are books available. So if you have a couple of you in the same family, you can share. But grab one of those books. A lot of people just say, I just don't believe. And they don't give it any serious intellectual pursuit. They're just okay with not believing. Or they say, it can't be true, and they make up a story about why it can't be true. And then that's arrogant of saying, 2,000 years later, oh, this is what happened instead of what they wrote down. About 10 to 15 years ago, there was a best-selling book called The Passover Plot. It created a scenario that Jesus couldn't have resurrected because this person knew that if Jesus did resurrect, that he truly is who he said he was, God in the flesh. But the guy said he couldn't have resurrected. He said he didn't really die. He said he just passed out. And then when they buried him in the tomb, the cool of the tomb helped to wake him back up. And then, could you think about this? Then he was able to just kind of elbow the rock and able to come out. It's kind of ridiculous, all right? If you care about the truth, make the truth a pursuit. 90% of your questions that you may have been asked before. Probably 100 of them have been asked before, and 90% have very, very good answers. They're not going to require you to have more faith. What the answers will do, it will strengthen and encourage the faith that you do have. And there are some questions that I don't know or you don't know the answers to, because if God could be figured out, he'd be a small God. But we serve a great big God. We can't figure him out. He's bigger than we are. He's bigger than our intellects. All right? I want to serve a great big God. Jesus is the life. Talking about the life that we live. Jesus is that life. I want to challenge you to move from a religion to relationship. Some of you have made your life a routine. Religion is simply the routines we do to continually go back to God and try to prove ourselves to God. All right? We make up the routine. We get up, we go to church. We come to church Wednesday night. We sit in the same place. And you go day after day, week after week, doing the same thing. Religion is about doing. Like I said earlier, other religions make you do. But it's not about doing. It's about having a relationship. Just like you have a relationship with a friend. The thing that separates Jesus from other religions around the world is we have a relationship with Jesus. We're not trying to prove ourselves to him. He's given us a gift that we can have, and it's life with him, life for him, and it's worth having. God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believed in him will not die but will have eternal life. God doesn't want for us to be religious today. The last thing I ever want any of you to be known as is to be religious. Move from religion to relationship. Understand what it means to break out of that. Some of you have been going to church your entire life. You're religious. It's not your faith yet. It's your parents' faith. I want to encourage you that if you really believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, don't be religious. Have faith in God. Have a relationship with God. Here's the difference. When you obey God, not out of obligation, but out of desire, that's a relationship. You want to live for Christ. I know many of you do. I can see it in your eyes. I can sense it in your heart. Jesus is amazing. And I hope you find that out. I want you to say, come back and say, oh, Ray, I remember when you taught me this, and I lived my life horribly. Now I come back, and now I really believe that. I want you guys to start living it right now. I want you to encourage you to live for Jesus right now because he's worth it. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Religion is spelled do, but Christianity is spelled done. Everything that is necessary in order to go to heaven has been done. You just need to respond to that. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. One of your leaders will pray over you guys. We'll see you next week.